Hey everyone, Chef Tony here. Today we are going to do a full dish for you. We're going to start with a southern staple with a little bit of a twist. We're going to make some grits. We're going to get going. First off, every good southerner has some pork fat hanging around, whether it's from bacon, whether it's from rendering any kind of pork product or anything. Oh yeah, we're going to take 1 or 2 spoons of that and we're going to go ahead and put it in our cast iron here. Get that going. Alright, we need to get that to melt down. We'll use that spoon in just a moment. And to start to line that pan, right? We want to make sure that that pan is hot, that bacon is doing its thing. Alright, we have our pork fat going in here. We're going to add some components right here at the beginning to kind of give this a little bit more flavor. I have some onions, some nice sweet onions. We're going to put some of those in our pan. And I hold back a little bit because you know we're gonna make a little salsa today too. We have some celery, right? So we want to try to keep this a lighter color, not going for a truly caramelized, but more of a sweat is what we're after here. And then a little bit of garlic. I know some people say don't add garlic this early on, but if you watch it, it's not gonna burn. If your heat's not too high, it's not gonna burn. Okay, we're gonna cook this just until we smell garlic. So we'll stir it around a little bit. I can see it starting to sweat, do its thing. So that'll take about 2 to 3 minutes, and we'll just start to see some liquid coming out of it, right? If you want to help it out a little bit, you can grab a little pinch of salt, start your seasoning at this point. So salt is one of those things that, you know, we added on, and you go, why do you add it on so early? The key is salt draws water out. And the more we can draw water out, the faster we can actually get to the fibers starting to cook and break down. So we get the water out, it steams up out of the pan, and then we start that caramelization and cooking process. But we want to use that to our advantage today while we do this. So, oh man, beautiful looking color in there. If you wanted to, you can add some parsnips to this. Be more French than Southern, but you know, that's okay. We're just cooking to eat. I have some cream corn. I'm gonna put a little bit of that in there. A little bit of water, or if you want to use chicken stock, or I don't know, maybe you have a little bit of fish sauce you want to put in there, right? This is the base of the flavor that you're going to start with. And then instead of milk, I'm going to use half and half. So I'm going to pour that in there as well. And I'm going to give that a stir just to start to let it incorporate. And what we're waiting on now is for it to come up to a boil. And then we'll be able to add our grits to it and make that happen. Now grits, you know, you're thinking about, you know, maybe you're watching a little bit of My Cousin Vinny, something like that, and years ago, what's a grit, right? Grits are wonderful. It's corn, right? You can have white corn, you can have yellow corn. Think Italian, right? Polenta has been there, fine ground corn, and you cook it just the same way. Our ratio today is 2 cups of liquid to 1 cup of grits. We use the same thing for rice as well, but today I have these stone ground grits, local. We're gonna put those in as soon as this turns hot. All right, takes a little bit of time to get this going. We gotta bring it up to temperature. Right here, I can start to see it simmering in here. This is when we wanna add the grits. We don't wanna just dump it right on in. We wanna kind of make like a light shower that's gonna happen. And then you wanna avoid some clumps. I have this special whisk right here. It's got my soul animal in it. I'm a fan of the silverback gorilla. This little bit of agitator in here is going to make sure that when it comes in, it's nice and separated as I shower it down. So I'm going to go ahead and start my whisking right there in the center. And then just gently let that shower down in on my gorilla and into my liquid. There we go. It's incorporating. We don't want any lumps, right? That's what we're trying to prevent. are the lumps here. So give that a stir right around the edge as well. In about 15 minutes, guess what we're gonna have, everybody? Some yummy, delicious, sweet corn grits. And we're gonna be ready to put this with a little salsa we're gonna make. And the star of the show today, we're gonna do blackened sea bass. So we're gonna use the black sea bass today for this. Commonly available in the waters right around where I'm at. So we wanna do something local, keep this going with fresh southern ingredients. So we're gonna let that simmer, and then we'll stir it on the occasion just to make sure that it's going good. All good things take a little bit of time. These grits are no exception. We're gonna stir through, making sure we move them off the bottom. If we don't keep them moving, what will happen is that starch will develop as it releases from the corn, and it'll start to stick to the bottom of the pan. And then we have no good right there. The cleanup's harder. You'll never want to make this again, and so we just give it a little stir every now and again just to kind of loosen it up, make sure that it's cooking well. It also is a little bit of a gauge for you to see, do you need to add more liquid to there or not. So turn the heat down to simmer, and we got about 10 minutes left on that. All right, I promised you a salsa today, so we're gonna start that too. Right, little cast iron pan right here. You know I got some bacon oil up in here, right? Shh. Bacon oil is where we're at here, guys. If you start talking about bacon fat, cardiologists everywhere, family physicians are going to jump on you for that. Bacon oil, they'll think it's some sort of new infused oil, and you'll be okay with that. Not really, but hey, it's between you and me. So I'm going to start here with some onion, right? That leftover onion that we had. I'm going to put that in the pan, just like that. Give it a quick stir. I'm only looking to get this to start to sweat as well, because I want the texture here. This is not the main part of what's going to happen for us, okay? This is just the base. This is going to be that start to that sweetness for this salsa that we're working with. Next thing that's going to go in here, I have horseradish, tablespoon of horseradish, 2 tablespoons of hot sauce, 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to incorporate that too. So this little bit of a salsa is going to have a little bit of a snap to it as well. Stir it around. I can smell it. I can smell those grits doing their thing. I can already tell you this is going to be one fabulous dish when we get to the end. All right. That's going for just long enough. How long is long enough? 2 minutes. That's long enough for me. One of my favorite ingredients, harissa. This is a red pepper sauce. Turkish in origin over there, kind of along that northeastern Mediterranean. We're going to go ahead and add that to us because it's got a lot of flavor. We want to incorporate that in there, just like that, and stir it up. It's got that bright red color from those roasted peppers. You can find it in your grocery store. There's one out there, I will tell you, made with rose water in it and rose petal. It is phenomenal. So if you can find that little bit of aromatic will work really, really great. We're going to bring that up to heat, let that cook out a little bit, and then we're going to get ready to blacken our fish. Some time's gone by. Our grits are nice and done. I just put about 3 tablespoons of butter in there. I'm going to whisk that in to incorporate, give a little bit of that luxurious mouthfeel that we get when we add butter to it. If you wanted to add a little bit of Parmesan cheese or cheddar cheese, you could. Nice and thick, but not too thick. I'm going to season it with some salt because it needs some salt, right? We started with a little bit, but there we go. We're going to stir to incorporate that. Yes, sir. Oh my goodness. I can see the corn. I can see the celery. It's like there's a party in here, like confetti all over the place. So, all right. I'm going to leave those like that. I'm going to go ahead and take my whisk and set it to the side. I'm going to turn the heat down. Let that just stay warm as we need it. Now, our salsa back here is looking fantastic. It's reduced down. We got some of that liquid out of there. So we have some concentrated flavors in here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to season that as well, just with a little bit of salt We don't need pepper because we have plenty of pepper in here from the harissa. All right. Last but not least, what we have to get done here, we have to get our fish going. I have some blackening seasoning here, homemade. And I leave the salt out of it because I want to be able to control the salt and what's going on. So I'm just going to season over the top of the fish. Just like that, right? You see I'm not down on it. I'm using kosher salt and I can see the flakes here. That's what I want to be able to do. I'm going to flip it over. Just like that. And I'm going to season the other side. You go, chef, why are you seasoning the other side? I want to eat both sides, right? By wanting to eat both sides, I need to make sure that we have some good seasoning on them. And again, no pepper, because in this blackening seasoning, we have plenty of pepper. I'm going to go heavy with this, because I like it heavy. All right? Notice I got one hand in my spices, and one hand touching the fish. I don't want to contaminate this, because if I don't use it all, I could use it for something else later. Give it a little turn. Give it a little turn. Oh, yeah. Make sure we get it all. That seasoning right over the top. Oh, this is looking great. I can smell it. It's got rosemary, paprika, cayenne, a little bit of dried oregano in there as well. And look, we can stack them up because it's going to work for us. There we go. Looking beautiful. Now, traditionally you use a cast iron pan for this, which we have. We have it going over high heat. I have a little bit of that bacon fat still sitting in there, that bacon oil. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this fish and I'm going to set it in, and I can hear it, right? I can hear it doing its thing. Set the other one in there, and I got these two little pieces as well. I'm going to go ahead and set that in just like that, and we're going to let these cook. It's not going to take too long. We're looking maybe 2 to 3 minutes on each side. Imperative that you get the internal temperature of that fish up to around 145, 150 degrees. That ensures that it's done. So we're going to let that cook off. We'll flip it in a minute. We'll clean up and get ready to plate. Our fish has been cooking for about 2 to 3 minutes on that side. I'm going to come in with my handy little chef spatula. I'm going to get in here. I'm going to start to roll it over. What we're going to see, and this is where the seasoning gets its name, is blackening in here. It'll start to char up on that side. So these spices are blended to provide a little bit of a bold flavor and to actually start to char up some. When you do this process of blackening, if you don't want to use oil, you don't have to. What actually happens is the pan gets so hot that when you put the fish in there, it sears up and tightens, and then it starts to ride on a cushion of hot air, right? So they got the hot air, and that vicinity of that cast iron is just pumping that heat into that fish and charring those spices up real good. If you put oil in your pan, what that does is that helps you start to bring it together. So gives you a little bit more of a shiny color to what's going on. So once you flip it, you can turn your cast iron off if you're using cast iron. You're good to go there. It's got enough heat in it that it's going to carry forward and finish cooking the fish. Well, that finishes up. I'm going to start plating here. I got a small plate, right? Get big plates. I put too much in them and I can't eat it all. This small plate helps me out. So I'm going to come in here and get some of these grits. I'm going to put a little bit of grit right there in the middle of the plate. Just like that. That fish is looking good. I'm going to reach in here. I'm going to grab one piece of this black sea bass just like that. I'm going to put it on the top. I'm going to get one of these little smaller pieces. Let that sit in there just like that. We're going to go for this salsa here. We're just going to put a little bit there. And then we'll start to just put some around the plate a little bit. How much? That depends upon you and what you like, right? And then to finish the plate off, we're going to reach for some chives. Maybe kind of put a couple on there. 3 or so, just like that. Yeah, blackened sea bass, everybody, with sweet corn grits and a harissa salsa to go right on top of that. It's a great dish. Can't wait for you to be with you next time. Thank you.